Hi internet, so it's review time again, and today I'm going to be reviewing We Were Liars by Lockheart. So, I'm going to preference this with saying I'm not giving too much details away with this book because it is one that you need to go in blind. Like, I think if I had been spoiled on this in any way, it would have just ruined it. In fact, it was to the point, like, before I read this, I just dodged anything. If I saw there was a book review on it or anything, I just wouldn't watch it because the ones I had watched had started off by saying, do not look at anything about this book. Just go into it blind. And that is the best way. I guess the synopsis I can give that doesn't give it away is it's kind of a contemporary read, I guess. And it is about a family, what are they called again? Oh. It is about the Sinclair family who are really rich, and every summer they go and have a summer on their like private island thing because they're rich. And it is about the four liars, which are a group of teenagers all the same age, and their adventures and stuff happens. And yeah, it's good. Yeah, I love this book. I think I give it a 5 out of 5 just because I love it that much and I desperately want to reread it. However, I also want to read 60 books in 2014 and I'm 3 books off that. So I'm not allowed to reread this until I hit 60 books. But yeah, I highly recommend you getting this. This is the non-spoilery part. I'm about to go into spoilers. If you have not read this, go away because you will get spoiled and you don't want to be spoiled. Like, just trust me. Although one non-spoilery thing is, in the Australian version, the text is Sharpie. I've seen on the hardcover that it's actually letters, and I think I prefer the Sharpie. Like, it just looks better. Okay, but yeah, anyway. Bye, non-spoilery people. Go read the book. It is amazing. It's only like 200 or 300 pages. So, it's a quick read, but it is amazing. Okay, spoilers. Oh, I've forgotten everyone's names instantly. Okay, so Cadence as a protagonist, like as soon as I opened this book and read the first paragraph where she talks about her father shooting her in the chest as he closes the door, I straight away went, we can't trust this protagonist. Also, really overdramatic, and the first couple of times I read it, it annoyed me endlessly. But after getting through it a bit, I was like, oh my god, I love this because you like feel her emotions and feel the way she's feeling. I have to take this off, it's too hot. It's one of those things as well that I didn't realise how much I understood all the descriptions and how much I felt it until I did put this book down for about a week or two and then picked it up again the other day and started reading it, and I was like, oh, that's right, this makes so much sense. I can feel everything. I did need a break from this book, I think just because I wasn't in the right mindset to read this sort of book when I was trying to. Actually, I might have put it down for a month. NaNoWriMo. I was too distracted. But then the last night actually, then the other night I stayed up all night, finished reading this and finished reading another book, and oh, this book had me crying for like an hour. I think I feel like it was an hour, but in saying that it probably wasn't an hour, because as I was reading this, and I've heard a lot of people say this as well, it was just like 30 pages felt like 100 pages. I sat there reading it for 2 hours, I think it was, and I like finished reading it, looked up, and I was like, oh my god, it's like 6 in the morning, isn't it? And no, it was 11, and I started at 9, and I was like, that was 2 hours? That doesn't feel like 2 hours. My emotions don't feel like 2 hours. But it was magical. 225. Yeah, it's one of those things as well that I didn't realise how attached I was to the characters until at the end. I think the turning point for me was when Cadence remembers this waking up after the fire and the song happened, like she's listening to the song, and I was just like, wait, that's just the song Meredith, what's her name again? Marin's. That's a song Marin was listening to. What does this mean? Like, was Marin there? Marin's not there. Like, what does this mean? What does that mean? And it like all makes sense. And like as everything came around, I was like, all the things. I don't know. I just kept picking up on random things that were happening. Like, that's really weird. And then as soon as she said the order for the way they were going to gas the house and light it up, I was like, that's not going to work. Why aren't you waiting till like everyone congregates before lighting it? When you douse the house and then flick the flame into the bottom floor and then run for it? No, why? And then we find out, and I was just like tearing up. And part of me, I'm like, I don't know how I feel about everything that like if they were ghosts or if it was just her going insane, because part of me sees how it could be just her going insane and her like, what is it again? I forget the word for it. But her thinking they were there but they really weren't, and it makes a lot of sense, which is also why like she was giving away her stuff, like subconsciously she knew what happened and all that, but at the same time, like, oh, I want to believe they're ghosts because that's better. That's like bordering on paranormal and fantasy, which I love. And I like desperately want to believe they're ghosts. I think the main thing that's making me say they were ghosts are the fact that she never tried to interact with them around other people, and although subconsciously she would have known they're not there and no one else would have seen it, but still. And the canoeing and jumping off the cliff. That's what made me believe it. But then like she talks about them playing with Legos and I'm like, did she go and get the Legos or was it the ghost? And then the ghost gave it back to them, because you don't hear the kids complaining that they lost their Legos. And oh. And who tied up the tire swing? Like, was it her in the middle of the night or what? He's like, it was really carefully done. I'm like, you could have done that. You could have done that. The grandfather makes sense. Like, when the grandfather was all, and making sure you're taken care of, I was like, why her? What? And oh, just, as I said, this book had me like crying for what felt like an hour as I read it. I think I just started crying. When did I start crying? It might have been the dogs. The dogs was when I started crying, because like a dog's dying in a fire and like the way it's described, and I was like, no, no. And then I cried harder for the humans, which is odd because who cries for humans really? You only cry for the animals, let's face it. Anyway, that's all. That's my book review for We Were Liars. I hope you guys are having a lovely week. I will see you next time. Also, what did you think about the book? I should ask these questions before I finish wrapping up. Yeah, what did you think about the book? Because like, oh, I love it. Like, I give it a 5 out of 5, and it's one that I want to reread, I think, because it fucked with my mind so much. Not just in like what happened in the story, but also in like the length that it felt. It felt so much longer than it was. And to start with, I was just like, oh, it's a slow read, I must hate it. But no, it's just a magical read that gets you lost in the book. Okay, bye.